welcome to the newly named Empty Heads podcast with me, Garrett, and...
Me, Amen.
Yes. So...
That's my name.
Yeah, we figured out the name. It's a big milestone for us, so that's pretty awesome. The first episode, when will that be up, Amen? That's on your side of things.
I wanted to put that up today, but we haven't fully worked out the art and the music yet. So maybe next week?
Yeah, I guess none of this matters to the listeners because they won't know, but...
They won't know.
It's just an interesting tidbit. About the progression of this podcast.
Yeah. It's going well. The editing's going well, but that's boring stuff for you guys because you literally...
I mean, for me included, that's why I have you on the podcast. It's just to edit.
Anyways.
As far as co-hosts go, I mean, I could have upgraded at any moment.
Anyways.
I mean, he's a phone call away. That's an inside joke. I'm sorry.
The elusive character that could easily be my replacement.
Yeah.
Is one phone call away.
Let's not mention his name because, you know, he might be listening in.
He's like the Man in Black.
No.
Okay. What's like... Isn't there like a movie character or something that's always just like the elusive, like, gonna do something? I don't know. I'm just thinking of like a shitty trope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
You know what? Yeah, that's funny. YouTube, you can't curse in the first minute. We talked about this, right?
Well, you didn't talk about it on
So you can't curse in the first minute because like their system detects you, but that's fine. We're too small to even get detected.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We won't be able to monetize for a while.
Without your support.
So
please.
Spread the word. Get this podcast into people's ears.
Because we have things to say that we'd like, for whatever reason, you people to hear.
Exactly.
I say you people, like that's so derogatory. Other people to hear.
Well, what do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? So how's your week?
It's good. It's mostly just a lot of driving around with the current pandemic. My current place of work is a Postmates delivery, so I just do that for the most part.
Well, I do DoorDash, so we're enemies. Actually, I'm technically both.
I'm not sure that's how that works.
It's like UPS and like FedEx feuds.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. No, it's actually like really fun work, to be honest.
I wouldn't say it's fun. You know, there's a point where you reach the 5th hour driving around and you're like, this is giving me a headache. Why do I still want to do this? And then on some days it's like so slow, so excruciatingly slow that you're like, I'm not making any money doing this. But like the other day on Thursday night, pretty great night, made some good cash. So, I mean, it's hit or miss, but...
Yeah, like on Memorial Day I worked like 5 hours. I made some pretty good money.
Yeah, Memorial Day, stuff like holidays, the weekends are usually pretty good.
It's like... But, you know, the reason why I like it so much rather than, like, getting some, like, job at, like, a restaurant or whatever, it's just because, like, I don't know. I like just driving around anyways, so I might as well make some money doing it. And plus, it's easier because it's just, like, you know, you pick up a thing and you go. It's like playing those missions in, like, GTA or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, you listen to podcasts or...
the only thing I do is listen to a podcast. Yeah. I haven't... When I run out of stuff to listen to, because I usually download it like to my phone.
Right, yeah.
That's like my last resort is music when I stop.
Right, yeah.
When I run out of stuff to listen to. But it's mostly, like I just found, like Rajan, who they don't know, I mean, unless they do. But just told me about the Bill Simmons podcast. And I started listening to that. And then before that, it was mostly just the Conan podcast and Mark Maron.
Yeah. You said the Bill Simmons podcast?
Yeah, he just talks about whatever sports news is going on.
That's
like,
cool.
Most of the recent episodes are about The Last Dance, and it's very interesting to hear
I need to
him and his guest takes on the documentary, which I haven't even watched, but just listening to that podcast those episodes makes me want to watch The Last Dance so much more because I've just heard it's astoundingly good.
It's really annoying that it's on every Netflix except for US Netflix.
Yeah.
But that's where VPNs come in handy.
Yeah, but I don't have a VPN, so.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting a VPN just for VPN reasons. Don't want those advertising companies tracking my data, even though they already know everything there is to know about me.
Yeah. This week, still no topic, you know. Maybe we'll institute that as a long-running gag, you know.
The podcast.
The topic for this week is nothing.
I mean, we've got empty heads. But you're so disappointed.
I'm disappointed in that. That was a horrible pun. How could you do this to me?
I think we're just gonna have to cancel.
I think I'm gonna have to make that phone call.
Yeah.
To replace you.
I honestly encourage that. Just get me out of here. Just have me edit. Somehow get dirt on me where I have to edit for you.
Yeah.
But don't have me as a co-host.
Well, I already have plenty of dirt on you.
Oh. Yeah, I guess you do.
It's not anything you'd know about.
You don't know that.
What do you mean? You don't know that?
I don't. No. This week, everyone's like, it's just like the whole coronavirus has just sort of ended.
For people in the United States.
Yeah. I mean, in New Zealand, which, I mean...
Well, they got their cases down to 1. Like, their response was an actual response.
Yeah, but their population is 10 million, which, you know, that's
yeah,
a
but
third
in highly concentrated areas, that can still be very dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, they did a really good job because they just went on complete lockdown. Like, you weren't even allowed... For, like, 2 weeks, you're not allowed to go out to get groceries or whatever. Everything was delivered to you by state officials, or like you just had to, you know, pack up or stock up for 2 weeks. Same thing on like Jersey Island in the British Isles. But you know, now they're doing great, which is good. It's good to hear. But we're slowly getting better.
Yeah, but I mean, just opening up a country is just going to cause more cases.
Yeah.
There's really no solid definitive answer to this until there's like a vaccine.
Yeah, which obviously sucks because the world, I mean, for a little bit came to a grinding halt.
Yeah,
which is,
you know, we said we wouldn't mention it, but it seems like, you know, things are just ending in the U.S.
Oh, the United States. Yeah,
we won't get into that, but
I mean, you know, if Memorial Day week, just read the news. Everyone's read the news. Everyone knows what's going on. We don't have to discuss it.
Yeah, we don't really have to discuss it. That would make this about the day's news, and that's not what this is supposed to be.
No, this is not a news channel, unlike Keemstar. Drama alert.
Unlike Keemstar, yeah.
We should...
We should what?
You know what it is. So we should get that guy on here. We should get on his podcast.
I don't think we have that kind of pull.
Oh, come on. Keemstar? If we said something shitty about him, which I guess this counts.
Come on the show, clear the air.
Yeah, no. If we said something shitty about him, which I guess this counts, he would somehow find out, even though we're like literally nothing, and he would somehow get us destroyed by his army.
Until we DM Ethan, and he comes to our
Even
aid.
Ethan, dude. Oh, okay, all right. Like barely anyone that listens to this is gonna get this, so I'm just gonna be like really brief with it. But there's this like quote unquote documentary some guy made in 2018 about Ethan, and it's pretty good. I don't know if you saw it. Goku.
He just made a
Goku. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that
episode
too.
about it. H3 did.
This is for those of you. It's just some YouTube bullshit.
I mean, YouTube drama is like so stupid and pointless, but you know, it's so interesting to hear about because these people just have like nothing but hatred for each other.
It's just pissing contests.
Yeah,
and they're honestly making money out of it, which is the best part for them.
Except for Keemstar, he lost his sponsor.
Yeah, he lost his sponsor, but honestly, like, oh no,
who cares?
He's rich as fuck, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll get there one day.
God, I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep all the ad revenue.
We get big enough. Who cares about school? I mean, who needs a degree? You got the podcast.
Speaking of school, I I've gotten to the point where I really just don't do anything until the last minute, and it's really just fucking me over so much.
Yeah. That sums up my career.
And
I mean, really, it does.
my writing professor, she's like, I don't understand how other professors are giving you guys exams and stuff before finals week, while she's literally assigning us like 3 essay projects due by the end of the quarter, which is in 2 weeks. And like, I can do it. I don't mind. It's just like,
well, how big are the essays supposed to be?
This one I turned in, well, the final draft's due next week. It's like 2,000 plus words. It's not bad.
That's manageable. I mean, I get where she's coming from, like compared to like midterm exams, which can be rough.
No. I mean, I'd rather take an exam than write an essay, but 2,000 words isn't bad if I had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
But I have like, labs to do. I have math to worry about. I have, not to say writing isn't an actual thing, but it's not an actual thing for me, considering my major.
Yeah.
So like, I don't really care about the class.
Yeah. It's funny. I went from like being a shitty essay writer in high school to like transforming by like senior year of like having the capability to write an essay.
Right. Which, I mean, for you, that's kind of necessary.
It's, yeah.
Your argumentative essays are big.
Yeah.
You're going to have to write a thesis at some point.
Exactly.
We could bring up the discussion we had last night, but that's...
What was the discussion last night?
Successful leaders.
Oh, no, we're not going to talk about that.
It's just a stupid argument. It was funny, though.
It was very funny.
One thing, okay, I thought about this in the shower this morning, but instead of talking about 2020 politics, we talk about politics in 1920. No, I thought of that, and I was like, okay, stupid. But I thought of Woodrow Wilson because he was president in 1920.
Yeah.
And then I remember, okay, every time we learn about him or like someone discusses him, they're like, oh, he was a racist. Like a big racist asshole, right? Which he was. But like the things he like said, okay. 14 points, right? World War I ends, 14 points, Treaty of Versailles, he wants to get that thing. One of the things was full autonomy for nations, right? England, all the European countries get out of Africa and Asia and let those countries rule themselves.
Yeah.
Japan, can take care of itself. China can take care of itself, all of that, right? That's one of the things he wanted. But then at the same time, the United States wouldn't allow that because they had the Philippines and Guam and Puerto Rico and Cuba, technically, because they just got it from the Spanish-American War. So, but he himself would have been cool if the United States just left the Philippines.
Yeah.
Right? And then also, like, he talked about, like, racial autonomy and, like, everyone just does their own thing and we all just stay out of each other's business, right? I guess because I'm, like, kind of ignorant on this, but, like, I don't see how that's a racist thing. Maybe I just am, like, not fully looking at, like, reading into it. I'm just kind of seeing, like, the very tip of the iceberg of it.
Yeah.
This is your field. So.
I don't know. Well, you just kind of have to, like, look at Wilson's sort of history within the United States.
Right, that's the thing. It's like it was kind of hypocritical.
Yeah, he supported, like, Jim Crow laws and whatnot. And it's just, he's one of the more controversial presidents than most people realize. I mean, during the First World War, he was, like, actively suppressing First Amendment rights. Like, if you spoke out against the government for their involvement in the war, like, you could get arrested, and it was illegal at that time.
What was it called? The War Powers Act. No, not the War Powers Act. The War Act, right? Like
something like that. But yeah.
Because some guy was passing out leaflets like, where it's like, dodge the draft. And then that guy got arrested.
Yeah.
See, that's still enacted, by the way. Like that they can do that.
Yeah.
To this day, which I think so, but like, I guess.
I don't know about that. We'd have to look.
We'd have to look into that, but I guess that makes sense. But at the same time, like, that response, I wouldn't say it was warranted, but like sort of made sense. Obviously, like he shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 but like that just sort of like, that was the response. And he really wanted to get into the war because it was affecting the American economy. And it was a good chance to kind of like step in and just be like, hey, look, we can do things, we could run the world as well. Because up until that point, it was mainly Europe calling all the shots.
Yeah, but the thing is our involvement in that war was mostly financially driven.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Which is like a murky area, Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't get into World War II because of financial reasons. It's because we were attacked, but
it helped financially.
Sure, but we were already on the upswing.
Yeah.
Of getting out of the Great Depression
because of the.
If we have to go to war every time to support the economy, that's not a good thing.
No, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, war, a lot of the time, war is it's mainly an economic thing for war, unless at least American.
It's not completely true.
Most American wars.
Sure, but
not war in general. But
there's a lot of geopolitical factors that come into war.
World War I was just like economic and like sort of just kind of like. I mean, the big thing is like the Germans almost brought us in themselves. With the Zimmerman thing.
Yeah.
And the sinking of the USS Lusitania.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just kind of like, okay, you provoked us. Like, here we come. But yeah, that's the thing. I just I understand that Wilson was like, his domestic policies were very racist. But like when people say like, oh, he was racist, and then they go like, these were his 14 points. Like every country can just deal with itself, and like England and France or whatever don't have a right of controlling these African nations because that's not their. I guess because for him that's not their nationality, that's not their land, that's not their race to tell what to do, right? Because it was like the white people tell the white people what to do and the black people tell the black people. I guess that was his idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that clears it up for me.
It wasn't like a staunch supporter of these African nations. It was
or like those Asian nations. It wasn't out of the goodness of his heart. It was
a different lens through which he saw it through. It wasn't the lens of like progressive liberation,
right,
but like something else.
Which I guess in those days would have been the only way to really push that to Europeans, at least.
Yeah, because everybody was racist.
Yeah. Because like
that's a very short simplification of that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Everyone was racist. Because like people are always like, oh, like conservatives are always like FDR was a racist because internment camps or which is true or whatever. But like literally every politician would have done that. Not internment camps, but maybe like the forced segregation of the military. That was already a thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess you can't. The fact of the matter was at that time everyone sort of had some prejudice, and that's still the case today.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But yeah, I just always kind of was like, Woodrow Wilson, racist. How is that an example of his racism? But now that makes sense to me. Sorry for the boring historical talk.
Yeah, the listeners are gonna love this.
Yeah, I mean, different things.
There's gonna be people who find it interesting, but I don't think that has mass appeal.
Doesn't. No.
Unfortunately.
I'd
love to make a history podcast, but that'd be a very small demographic to like angle into something.
Yeah.
I guess that could just be one of the many things we talk about, though.
We talk about a good few things.
Yeah.
Like video games. I don't know. We play video games.
Yeah. Movies, television. Anything.
When was the last time you read a book?
I started reading 1984 at the beginning of quarantine.
Did you finish it?
No, I put it down at some point. I was enjoying it, but it's a usual thing that happens with me in literature where it's like, man, I'm really into this, but like, I don't know. It's just like as soon as the option to just do something else
comes up
is available, it's like, all right, I'll just put this down. And that's happened a lot with the books I've been reading for years, is that I just sort of put them down at some point and revisit them at a later time. Like, I was on the third book of the Song of Ice and Fire series. And
That's Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah. And I just sort of stopped reading that. I don't know. It was like sophomore, junior year where I was like, just put it down for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, like for the longest time, I was like slowly getting through 1980. I really enjoyed it. It's just like you said, if I had the option to do something else, that's going to happen. Like right now, I'm halfway through The Great Gatsby, but I haven't picked it up in like 2 months because I've just been like so caught up with other things.
Yeah, there's a lot of books I really want to read, but it just sort of doesn't happen.
Right. Like in high school, I was never into reading because I realized like I was doing it wrong. That kind of sounds stupid, but like we talked about this with our friends a while back, but like the best way to read is like really picturing what's going on. In my opinion, like when I read like 1984, I try to imagine like the setting and like
visualize it.
I visualize like what's going on. So when he talks about how he's walking
that's what most people do.
Yeah, he's talking about how he's walking through London and you see like the big Ingsoc, is that what it's called?
Something like that.
And it's like, war is peace, slavery is freedom, whatever.
Freedom
Those big, and then like Big Brother's watching you, all the cameras and shit. Like I really try to visualize that.
Yeah.
And it helps because it's just like, then you can understand the reading material a little more. And it obviously that's how you're supposed to do it, but like obviously you're not told that because that's not, and that's why people really enjoy reading, is because people that really enjoy reading are really good at that.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I was never good at that. I would read a book for English class, and then it was just so boring to me because I didn't give a shit.
How many of the books did you read in high school?
Freshman year.
Because there's like a total of like 30 or something like that, maybe.
There's a total of 30. I've probably read like 10 of them.
Yeah. Half that, and that's me.
Really?
Yeah.
I just, some of them are so ridiculous.
The books we read in class don't count either. Like the Shakespeare stuff.
Yeah.
Any of the play stuff.
Like some of the stuff was ridiculously boring.
Yeah.
Like Charles Dickens is the worst author.
Yes.
And I hate how he's taught as like some great, grandiose author.
I don't think he's necessarily the worst author, but like it's clear that he was influential, but it's just boring. Mm-hmm. It's not interesting.
Or like Shakespeare, his plays, it's because he made the stereotype or like the cliche.
Yeah, and it's made to be seen, not to be read.
Right,
either.
And I hate how they make us read it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we watch...
And the English teachers, they always say, this is meant to be seen, not read. Yeah. But we go through with reading it anyways.
Mm-hmm. It's because it's so they could stretch it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like freshman year, we read Frankenstein by
Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley.
Wasn't that sophomore year?
No, it was freshman year.
Yes, it was.
I loved that book. Really good.
That's one I didn't read.
It's a good book. I think that was the only book freshman year I actually read. That and
Other Westmore is what I read.
Which one?
The Other Westmore. Do you remember the 4 books?
Yeah, we had the 4 books. No, I read the one about the Iranian Revolution. I forgot what it's called. That was more of like a graphic novel.
What books did we read freshman year? Because I remember reading more than one.
Great Expectations by Charles Dickens.
Okay, yeah, I put that down like
garbage. I read the first 10 pages and I went,
"That's trash.
Fuck this book." Like,
it's so boring. Like
the little kid, I remember it too. Like the little kid in the graveyard, and the old man's like, "Your father," and then like it's just so.
I want to be a gentleman.
Yeah.
What does that even mean today?
Yeah. What did it mean in like 1820?
It just meant being like a rich posh guy, I guess. But like today, that means nothing.
And then like he had that whole thing with the old woman and her granddaughter or whatever.
I don't even remember.
It was a terrible book. And then we
read noted that
Romeo and Juliet.
We read that in class, so I don't really count that. Frankenstein.
Like everyone, the story of Romeo and Juliet before you read it. 2 star-crossed lovers. That's literally
the Odyssey. I didn't read that.
I really enjoyed the Odyssey.
Well,
It's boring because it's like, weird shit. Like, it's boring because English teachers make it boring. They're like, I mean, when the chorus says this, like, what does it mean? Like, who gives a fuck? But when you just read it for the art, or when you watch a play,
basically a high fantasy book.
Yeah, it's really good. And what's crazy is written 3,000 years ago.
Yeah,
by some fucking Greek guy tripping his balls off or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and then we watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, that was a good movie.
It's a great film.
Yeah.
And it's basically the Odyssey, but, made into 1920s America.
Something like that,
Fugitives fleeing with Clooney and
George Clooney, John Goodman. Coen brothers. Amazing.
Goodman plays the Cyclops.
Yeah.
They stab him or he has one eye and then they stab him the other eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good movie. We watched the version of Romeo and Juliet with DiCaprio where it's modern America,
day, but it's
the same lines.
It's the same diction. That's like an awkward movie to watch.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes it enjoyable is just how ridiculous it is.
Right. There's gunfights and shit instead of swords. Because one of the characters in Romeo and Juliet has a special sword or whatever. In the movie, it's his gun has the inscribing on it instead of a sword.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it's funny, but it's whatever. We read Brave New World sophomore. I really like that. Aldous Huxley
did not read that.
A great author.
Did not read that.
Animal Farm.
Of course,
by Orwell.
I think that's book number 2 of me reading. Honestly, I think that was the last book I read.
Fully?
Fully,
last book
in total,
wow.
Out of high school.
Oh, out of high school. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
No, because Orwell's great because it's not a critique of socialism because he's a socialist. He was a socialist. It's a critique of the Soviet Union's take on socialism.
Yeah.
Because it was all hypocrisy. But we get into that. But I read The Hunger Games when I was in middle school. I read the first 2 books. And I got halfway through the third one, and I was like, this isn't entertaining anymore. I read the first Harry Potter and was like, okay. I was like, I'm not really into this. I want to read Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Must read.
Okay.
It's old. It's it's a little weird because it's old, but it's great.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like that is timeless considering the fantasy setting.
Yeah. Exactly.
There is whenever we'd read a book that most people didn't like, it was always the book that our teachers really, really loved to get into detail about the littlest, stupidest things.
Yeah.
This word here, why is that important that he used that diction right there? Or that tone, or that blank?
Yeah.
I get, that's kind of understanding a form of art, and I get that it's necessary for learning how to write in a rhetorical way or whatever. But I really, really never gave a shit.
I remember the other book I read, which would probably bring it up to 3, was The Things They Carried from junior year.
We didn't read that.
It's the Vietnam War book. Oh, you did IB, right?
I did IB. Yeah. So we read
at the end of the year for the AP class was 4 books or 4, 5 or 6 books in groups of 4 to make a presentation on.
Right.
And that's the book I wanted the most, and I got to read it.
That's good.
Was
it good?
Really good. Yeah, I accidentally hit the mic. But yeah, no, it's a war story, and it doesn't glorify anything. It's very bleak. It's
gritty.
More bleak than gritty. It's this is a war story. There's nothing to really learn from it except war is hell, and that's it.
That's All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, it's there's no lesson to learn. There's nothing glorifying about it. People die.
It sucks.
Right.
Okay.
Which is the right thing to learn from it.
A war thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of heroic America or heroic whatever.
Yeah. I think the thing about high school English is it's so easy to just BS your way through it.
Yeah, I never had below an A in any English class.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. Freshman year, first semester, I had a B+ because my teacher didn't like me. There's worse things I could say, but I won't.
Yeah. No, it's just like I always had at least a B plus. I don't think I ever could get past that threshold because it wasn't until like junior year, like second semester, where I was like, now I can write essays fine.
Right, yeah.
Like,
and
I was one of the few people that got a 4 on like the comp exam. Everybody else was getting 3s, and I was expecting to get a 3, like because I was a shitty essay writer. And then I came out with it with a 4, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!"
Yeah, I got a 3 on that, but I got a 5 on the IB writing exam.
Nice,
which is out of 7 though, so like
that's still good. That's basically a 4.
Yeah, man, high school. Like looking back now, it's just like I really I really put myself. A lot of us did, and now we all look back like, like really, really constantly worrying about my grades is so ridiculous. Like just a year ago, I was panicking if I didn't have an A. Now I don't have an A. Actually, that's not true. I am writing because it's still easy to bullshit. But like in my other classes that actually matter, I don't have an A, and I'm just kind of like, that's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, freshman year, like first semester, like was when I really cared about grades, and then for some reason, second semester, I probably like got depressed or something. I just let grades slip, and I had like 2 Ds in some of my classes, and the other classes I could just sort of glide through, no problem.
Right.
And then for the rest of high school after that second semester was like, okay, I don't care. Like, I need at least a 3.5 to get into like a decently good university, and like a semi-good SAT score, and I'll be fine. And that's basically what I did.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not trying to go to like crazy schools, it doesn't.
The dream is always to go to a crazy school, but I think at some point everyone realizes like that whether or not they're gonna be able to do that.
Right. Yeah. Like you just kind of like, okay, that's not a realistic
Like
goal.
I know if I had worked like my ass off, like I probably could have done something. 'Cause I mean, like, I don't know. It's like some people are just like, I don't want to like be a braggart or anything, but are naturally intelligent.
Right. Yeah.
And I like seeing as how like I was going through school doing well.
Just but not, and you weren't really like trying so hard. Yeah.
If like I had an actual work ethic, I probably could have done something. But
right. Yeah. Like
there's a point where I figured it out. Like I don't really need to.
I was like I was a pretty big tryhard. I wouldn't say as much as other folks, but at some point I realized like if I tried any harder just to get into a slightly better university that I'm at right now, I would have ended up killing myself out of like exhaustion and stress. Yeah. And like looking back, I love where I go, and an education's an education.
Exactly. Especially with the degree you're getting, like,
yeah,
it would have helped to go to one of those bigger schools, but you can find work pretty easily.
Right, yeah. It's just crazy, like, how I was so caught up with that sort of stuff. At the same time, though, like, that's the way it's projected onto us in the American school system.
Yeah.
It really bothers me. Like, I was talking about this with one of the teachers, not our teachers, like one of the ASB ladies, and she was like, our school really pushes this idea of excellence and like
university.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's that or you're nothing or you're nobody, and you have to, you know, it's our motto is a tradition of excellence. Like, really forcing that onto high schoolers is just not good. And a lot of parents are at fault too. My parents, all my siblings weren't like tryhards or like straight A students or whatever. And then, not to brag, like freshman year was easy as hell, so it was obviously easy to get straight A's. My parents saw my report card and they're like, what are you doing? Like, they're just so confused. Like, straight A's? Like, they were so confused, and I was just like, okay. Like, I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying, like, my parents never really forced the good grades onto me, but a lot of parents do that.
Yeah.
A lot of parents are like, you have to constantly have great grades, and you can't have fun until you... Like, one of our friends, his parents wouldn't let him hang out with us sometimes over the summer between senior year and college when you're not in school and nothing you do matters, because they wanted him to teach himself Python or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to learn it, even though he was already an excellent programmer.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, take it easy on the guy.
Yeah. There's too much of an emphasis on university. I think, like...
Because there's so many other options.
Yeah, I think education needs reform. Like, it should double as a trade school and as a way to get to university.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or it should double as the pathway to university or a trade school. And there should be an emphasis on both, not just on one.
Yeah, they talk about university, and then they're like, you could go to community college. And it's like, excuse me, community college is a very important option for so many people.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper, because not everyone can afford the ridiculously expensive American university. And it makes sense. It's cheaper and it helps you. Excuse me, I don't know, I have hiccups. Like 2 years at community college, you're saving a lot of money, and then you just transfer to a university, finish, another 2 or 3 years, and you have a degree that's just as good as another person, but you save money and time, right? Or trade school. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to get a degree. You just get a trade certificate. I don't know what they're called. What are they called?
I think that's what it is.
Right, and you can make money as doing a trade. As an auto worker, a mechanic. That's what they're called. Electricians, plumbers. Those people get not a degree, but the equivalent of a degree in a trade.
Yeah. Because
you don't have to learn how the fucking the engineering behind the car. You just have to learn how to fix it, right? It's not that simple, obviously, but
yeah.
But you still make a living, and it's still a very viable option for people that can't afford university, and for people that don't have access or that need to support their family while attending some sort of school. And a trade school is easier. Of course, there's the option of the military.
Yeah, that's always there.
That's always there. Volunteer. They'll pay for your schooling, kind of. But personally, I wouldn't do that. Some people do.
Yeah.
No hate.
Definitely not.
That's their choice. You know what I mean? And then there's the option of just going straight into the workforce, but without.
That's difficult.
That's difficult as well, because of the fact that the world prioritizes a degree and some sort of trade certificate for money. You know what I mean? So the higher education you have, the more money you get. So going straight into the workforce out of high school is very difficult, but some people have to do that. And the fact that that's really frowned upon, not frowned upon, but just kind of ignored by the American high school education system really bothers me.
Yeah.
What a very boring topic.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
It's important though, I guess.
Yeah.
I watched the genre episode of Westworld.
Yeah.
Because it's called genre because of the drug.
Yeah.
Genre.
We're so late on this. The season's already wrapped. But
I know. I'm sorry. I've just been slowly getting through it. But I remember you said you thought that episode was weird or something.
I thought it was just odd about the emphasis on where they were sort of taking it.
Right. There's so many. That episode had 20 different twists. Not 20. That's an exaggeration. But so many twists for one episode. You good there?
Cup's kind of, I don't know if it's dirty or not, but.
Oh, okay. But there's so many different little twists where it was ooh, this okay, spoiler alert, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it was all the new hosts are just Dolores.
Yeah.
And how they did it where it was 3 different people realized that at the same time, and then they just kept panning over where it was William and it was Tessa Thompson's character. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's Dolores, and then it's Maeve and the Japanese guy.
Yeah.
And then it's Dolores in his body, and then it's Dolores beating the shit out of the security guard from Westworld.
Yeah.
And then the guy
Bernard figures out the guy.
Yeah,
who's
Bernard
like
figures
the
out
security guy for the billionaire or whatever.
Is also Dolores, and he's like, and then it just kind of pans to all their faces like a million times over, and they're all just like, oh my god, it's Dolores. And like, sure, that's a cool twist, but everyone cracking the code at the same time is really boring, in my opinion. Yeah. And they should have made that like, Bernard sitting there like really thinking on it, like who would it be, blah blah blah, and then Dolores. Next episode, Maeve figures it out, Dolores. But they really wanted to just get that point across.
Yeah.
Because now the whole point of the show, which I'm guessing, I haven't seen the next episode yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be Dolores claims to be wanting to make a world for all the hosts, or whatever, or like, for her kind, as she says, but it's just going to be like a bunch of hers. And she says it's her kind.
Yeah.
Have you finished the season?
No.
Okay.
It's odd. It's just sort of like sitting there in stasis of whether or not I'm going to go back to it.
It's really trudging right now. They're trying a little hard, and I mean, they have the potential of coming back, but as of right now, it's like, so far what I've seen, it's like decent.
Yeah.
Because season 1 and 2 were great. This is just decent. It's not bad. It's just not so good.
Yeah. I'm just finding other things to sort of watch and whatnot. But yeah.
You seen Middleditch and Schwartz yet?
I have not.
That improv stuff is so funny.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Because like that's the thing about improv. You can't. Everyone thinks they can do improv because it's like, oh, it's making stuff up on the spot, but it's not that simple. Like you have to. Obviously you come up with a story or whatever based on one little tidbit, because they ask the audience, like, what's something you're looking forward to, or
yeah, I know the whole. Yeah.
And then
they ask some questions for topics to.
And then, but then they develop the story on the spot, and then they have to stick with it, remember all the characters and every little thing that they mentioned, so that and then they wrap it up in like a full story. Improv it's not just going out there and like, saying some dumb shit like, hey, I'm Steve, I'm a fucking idiot, and then it just goes on from there. No, it's like you're literally creating a story right there on the spot, characters, plot points, this, that, and it's super entertaining to watch. I probably couldn't do that.
No.
Especially not in front of all those people.
No, you couldn't.
No.
I couldn't.
But those guys are professionals. They're professional comedians.
I mean, yeah.
And they're hilarious. I love Thomas Middleditch and Ben Schwartz. They're just the funniest guys. Silicon Valley and Parks and Rec. Thomas Middleditch is in something else that I'm forgetting. He's in Solar Opposites. He plays.
Oh yeah, he is.
He plays Terry.
I saw that in the trailer that he was
him
in.
Him and Royland are the main two adult aliens. There's so much like random shit to come across and like read. Today, I saw a post about like Amish people doing something, and I was like, "What are the Amish?"
What?
I know what the Amish are, but like, why are the Amish, right? Like, why are they like stuck in 1850 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I look it up, and it's like a religious thing. Like, cool, okay. And then it turns out that they speak like weird German, like it's called like Pennsylvanian German or like Bavarian German or some shit like that, right? And I like looked into it, and it's like specific dialects of German that are like kind of slightly different. And like I thought about it, like every English speaking colony of England speaks a different like dialect of English.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the Germans that came here have, their German has developed into a different dialect of German or Dutch or French or whatever. And I guess I never really thought about that. So when I came across that the Amish speak like weird German, I was like, that makes sense.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Gotta love the Amish.
Yeah.
Just for existing. I mean, it's such a cool...
It's a strange thing.
Yeah. I mean, if they like, that's their thing. How can you avoid the internet or television or movies?
Yeah, especially when it's rapidly evolving around you.
Right. I want to know how they do such a good job of avoiding it.
Yeah. German's like one of those weird languages that has like only a few different dialects.
Yeah.
You look at like English, for example.
There's so many dialects of English.
Or you just can look at the United States.
Right. Just in the United States alone, there's plenty.
Yeah. Which is just kind of crazy.
And like Arabic. Like the dialect I speak is not even a real dialect because I kind of fuse two together. I'm like a mix of the Palestinian and the Lebanese dialects. So some of the words I say like are pronounced differently. So like when I was in Lebanon, I'd say something and then one of my cousins or my cousin's husband was like, "What? Why'd you say it like that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, huh?" Like we pronounce so like dialects are really interesting. But German, well, actually in Germany there's like 4 different dialects I think.
Really?
There's Bavarian German.
Yeah, Bavarian. I know that.
Which is very different than High German. High German is what they speak in the north, like in Berlin and in Hessen and the northern cities, and then in like Munich and in Bavaria, their Bavarian German is like it. I don't know how to explain the difference. It's just very different. Like I can't understand. I can't from what I can understand of German, it's like a completely different language. And then like more close to the Polish border is like Prussian German, which is more close, which is like slightly mixed in with like Slavic speaking, I guess. And then like Austrian German is a little different and Swiss German's like really different.
Yeah.
And then like, Dutch is just like kind of like its own little type of German technically. But German's really interesting because it's like it's all because like every English speaking country can understand each other.
Yeah.
Like our German teacher said, sometimes she has a hard time understanding Bavarians.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And like, I sometimes have a hard time understanding some Arabic dialects just because of how different it is. Like Saudi Arabian Arabic is so weird.
Really?
Yeah, like how they pronounce things.
How they pronounce stuff.
And some of the words they use just make no sense to me. My mom, she grew up in Saudi Arabia. So at home, she spoke like Palestinian Arabic, but then in school and stuff, she spoke like Saudi Arabic, and she was also around a bunch of different other kinds of Arabs. So she's really good at speaking and understanding like most of the dialects. So like some of her friends are Egyptian. When she's talking to them, she speaks in the Egyptian dialect, and I'm like, how are you just so quick to that's like someone would like be speaking in like a Californian accent or like dialect, and then switch to a New Yorker and switch to like an English accent and like a Scottish thing and like an Australian thing, and like use those words properly and like speaking like how they like someone from there would speak. That's how my mom does it.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like, how do you do that? She's like, I just got good at it.
Flex,
massive flex from my mother.
Just flexing on you.
Yeah. So I think we're out of time for today. Mm-hmm. Thank you for listening to the Empty Heads podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate the support.
And the next episode should come out next week. We're gonna release these weekly.
Yeah.
And can't wait to have you hear us, because we won't be hearing from you.
Yeah. Thank you for the support.
See ya.
Will there be a guest next week?
Probably not. I don't know if guests are a thing we can do yet.
Yeah.
But we hope to have guests.
Yeah.
And yeah. Goodbye.
Later.